The derelict trading station floated in the darkness like a broken tooth against the stars. 7 pirate vessels circled it in lazy patterns, their crews bored from weeks of slim pickings in this forgotten corner of the Orion Arm. The Krellian warlord Horvath sat in his command chair, picking at his claws while his second officer Rask ran sensor sweeps for anything valuable enough to chase. "Contact," the sensor operator barked suddenly. "Small vessel entering range from Galactic East." Horvath leaned forward with mild interest. "Identification." Transponder reads as Earth Registry, civilian merchant class, fusion drive signature, minimal defensive armament. The operator paused. "Looks like she's running old tech, maybe 40 cycles behind current standard." A ripple of laughter spread through the bridge crew. Earth ships had a reputation across the galaxy as easy marks. Their crews typically surrendered at the first sign of trouble, preferring to lose cargo rather than lives. Horvath had personally chased off 3 Earth merchants in the past year without firing a single shot. "Hail them," Horvath ordered, switching his display to show the approaching vessel. It was small and ungainly, with the boxy design humans seemed to favor for cargo hauling. "Let us see how quickly these soft water-worlders run." Rask opened a channel and broadcast on all frequencies. "Unknown Earth vessel, you have entered claimed territory. Prepare to be boarded or be destroyed." He grinned at Horvath. "Think they'll even wait for us to finish the threat?" The other pirate ships had noticed the new arrival and were already moving into intercept positions. A Vandorian raider called the Blood Talon reported in. "We claim half the salvage. We saw it first after you Krellians." "You can have the scrap metal," Horvath replied. "These humans never carry anything worth the fuel to haul it." Several minutes passed before the Earth ship responded. The delay itself spoke of outdated communications equipment. When the transmission finally came through, it showed a human female in a plain gray uniform. Her face was unremarkable by human standards, with dark skin and short cropped hair. She looked tired rather than frightened. "This is Captain Diana Ross of the merchant vessel Wanderer." Her voice was calm and measured. "We're just passing through this sector en route to the terminus colonies. We have no cargo of value and request." "Safe passage." Horvath burst out laughing. "She requests safe passage. Did you hear that?" He leaned toward the screen. "Captain Ross, you have 1 standard hour to prepare your crew for boarding. Resist, and we will crack your hull like an egg. This is not a negotiation." Diana's expression didn't change. "I understand your position. I'm asking you to reconsider. We really are just passing through." "1 hour," Horvath cut the transmission and turned to Rask. "Send 3 boarding teams. Tell them not to damage the cargo holds. We might as well see what these humans thought was worth hauling to the edge of nowhere." Around the derelict station, the pirate vessels began forming up. The Wanderer continued on its course without deviation, making no attempt to flee or power up weapons. Through the viewports, Horvath could see the Earth ship growing larger as they closed the distance. "She's not even trying to run," Rask observed. "Maybe the drive is damaged." "Or they know running is pointless," Horvath replied. "Either way, easiest profit we've made in months." Inside the Wanderer, the human crew moved through their preparations with quiet efficiency. The engineer Pete was running diagnostics on the cargo bay systems, while navigator Ruth plotted exit vectors that would never be used. Communications officer Leo continued broadcasting a standard distress beacon that no one would answer in time. Diana sat in her command chair, reviewing a document on her personal display. It was marked with Earth Command seals and labeled rules of engagement for Q-ship operations. She had read it so many times she could recite it from memory, but procedure demanded one final review before weapons release. "Pete," she called over the internal comm. "Status on the cargo bay." "Seals are holding nominal," Pete's voice came back. "Power feeds are green across the board. We're ready when you give the word." "Ruth, how many ships do we count?" 7 confirmed. 3 heavy raiders, 4 light attack craft. They're moving into standard boarding formation. Ruth's tone was professional and detached. "Nearest neutral vessels have already jumped out. We're alone." Diana glanced at the chronometer. 47 minutes had elapsed since Horvath's ultimatum. The pirate ships were now close enough that their weapons were visible on the tactical display. She could see boarding craft detaching from the larger vessels, ready to land. Onto the Wanderer's hull. Leo turned from his station. "Captain, I'm receiving multiple transmissions from the pirate fleet. They're discussing how to divide our cargo. Some of them are laughing about how Earth Command will never even know what happened to us." "Let them laugh," Diana said quietly. She tapped a control on her chair and spoke into the ship-wide intercom. "All hands, weapons release authorized, execute on my mark." She opened a final channel to Horvath's flagship. The Krellian appeared on screen, clearly expecting another plea for mercy. "Captain Horvath," Diana said, "I gave you an opportunity to reconsider. You chose violence over wisdom." She paused. "That was a mistake." Horvath's face twisted in contempt. "Your hour is up, human. Prepare to—" Diana cut him off. "Pete, unseal the cargo bay." The transformation happened in seconds. Massive doors along the Wanderer's hull suddenly irised open, revealing weapon pods that had been disguised as cargo containers. Hull plating retracted in synchronized sections, exposing advanced sensor arrays and targeting systems. The boxy merchant ship shed its disguise like a snake shedding skin, revealing the sleek predatory lines of a military warship beneath. Power signatures that had read as simple fusion drives suddenly spiked as military-grade reactors came fully online. The sensors showed the Wanderer's true classification. Earth Defense Force Q-ship, hunter-killer variant, designed specifically for anti-piracy operations. On Horvath's bridge, every alarm began screaming at once. His sensor operator stared at his display in disbelief. "Impossible! Power readings just increased by factor of 20, weapons systems activating, targeting locks establishing." The operator's voice rose to a panicked shout. "They have enough firepower to destroy us all." Horvath's mouth went dry. He managed to rasp out a single word: evasive. Diana's voice came over the open channel, cold and final. "You were warned." The Wanderer's railgun batteries spoke first. 2 pirate ships ceased to exist in the first salvo. The railgun projectiles traveled at a significant fraction of light speed, crossing the distance in microseconds. The Vandorian Blood Talon never even registered the impact before its reactor containment failed and turned the ship into an expanding sphere of plasma. A smaller Graxian raider beside it was struck amidships and simply torn in half. Its 2 sections tumbling away in different directions, trailing atmosphere and bodies. Horvath screamed orders that no one could hear over the alarms. Rask was shouting into the communications system, trying to coordinate a response from the surviving ships. The 2 boarding craft that had been approaching the Wanderer exploded as point defense lasers tracked them with inhuman precision, turning them into clouds of glittering debris. "Return fire," Horvath finally managed to bellow. "All ships concentrate fire on their engines, disable them." The 5 remaining pirate vessels opened up with everything they had. Plasma cannons, missile batteries, and particle beams all converged on the Wanderer. The barrage was impressive by pirate standards, enough firepower to cripple most military vessels in the sector. The weapons struck the Wanderer's shields and dissipated harmlessly. Energy screens that had been hidden during the ship's merchant disguise absorbed the assault without even flickering. Diana watched the tactical display with clinical detachment as damage reports came back showing 0% shield degradation. "Their weapons are obsolete," Ruth reported. "Estimate our shields can sustain this level of fire for approximately 6 hours before requiring any power reallocation." "We won't need 6 minutes," Diana replied. "Pete, launch missile package Alpha. Leo, begin wide-spectrum jamming. I want their communications and targeting systems blind." The Wanderer rotated with speed that defied its mass. Inertial dampeners that were decades ahead of galactic standard allowed the ship to maneuver like a fighter despite being classified as a light cruiser. Missile ports opened along the ventral hull and spat out a swarm of hunter-killer munitions. Each missile carried its own artificial intelligence system, capable of independent targeting and tactical decisions. They spread out in a coordinated pattern, selecting targets and attack vectors without any need for human guidance. Rask's destroyer was the first to experience this new generation of human warfare. His countermeasure systems deployed chaff and decoys automatically. It was standard procedure that had worked against missile attacks for centuries. The human missiles ignored the decoys completely. Their sensors were sophisticated enough to distinguish between the electromagnetic signatures of actual ships and simple imitations. They adjusted. Course in perfect formation and accelerated. Rask had just enough time to realize the countermeasures had failed before 6 missiles impacted his ship simultaneously. 3 struck the forward shields and collapsed them through sheer kinetic force. The remaining 3 penetrated the exposed hull and detonated inside the ship's vital systems. The destroyer broke apart in a cascade of secondary explosions, its reactor going critical in a final flash of blue-white light. 3 pirate ships remained operational. One of them, a modified freighter called the Reaper's Hand, was already spooling up its faster-than-light drive. Its captain had decided that survival outweighed profit or pride. The ship's crew worked frantically to achieve jump speed. Diana noted the attempt. Ruth, solution for the runner. Targeting now, Ruth's fingers danced across her console, firing. A single pulse from the Wanderer's main spinal cannon crossed the distance. The beam was focused enough to punch through shields and hull in one shot. It struck the Reaper's Hand directly in its FTL drive assembly. The exotic matter containment failed catastrophically, and the ship folded in on itself before winking out of existence. The crew never felt anything, gone in an instant of spatial distortion. Horvath's flagship and 1 remaining light raider were now alone against the Wanderer. The raider's captain apparently decided to try his luck with speed. He pushed his engines to maximum and attempted to break out of the engagement zone. The small ship was fast, built for hit-and-run attacks. Pete didn't even wait for orders. He activated a weapons system the pirates had never encountered. A gravity well projector that created localized distortions in space-time. The raider suddenly found itself struggling against forces that shouldn't exist in open space. Its engines burned at full power, but the ship barely moved, caught like an insect in amber. "Tractor him in," Diana ordered. "I want prisoners for intelligence." The Wanderer's tractor beam locked onto the helpless raider and began drawing it closer. The pirate crew abandoned ship immediately, flooding local space with escape pods. They knew what happened to pirates captured by Earth forces. It was better to surrender and hope for prison than die fighting a battle they couldn't win. That left only Horvath. His flagship was the largest ship in the pirate fleet, a former military destroyer he had stolen from the Krellian Navy 5 years prior. It had served him well in dozens of raids. Now it seemed pathetically inadequate against actual military opposition. "Horvath," Diana's voice came through his speakers. "You have 1 chance to surrender. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." Horvath's pride warred with his survival instinct. He had built his reputation on never backing down, never showing weakness. But he was also intelligent enough to recognize when a fight was truly unwinnable. His crew was looking at him, waiting for orders that might save their lives. "Target their bridge," Horvath snarled. "All forward batteries. If we're going to die, we take that human captain with us." Every plasma cannon on his ship swiveled to focus on the Wanderer's command section. They fired simultaneously in a brilliant cascade of superheated gas. The barrage was concentrated enough to overwhelm most shield systems through sheer thermal loading. The plasma splashed across the Wanderer's shields and dispersed. Diana didn't even blink. The bridge lights didn't so much as flicker from the power drain. "He made his choice," she said quietly. "Pete, end this." The Wanderer presented its broadside to Horvath's flagship. What followed wasn't a battle, it was an execution. Railguns, lasers, and particle beams fired in a precisely timed sequence. The flagship's shields collapsed under the first volley. The second volley carved through the hull plating like it was paper. The third volley struck the reactor core. Horvath felt the deck lurch beneath him as containment failed. He had just enough time to reach for the emergency ejection control before the blast wave hit. His escape pod fired from the dying ship, launching him into space as his flagship tore itself apart behind him. The pod's small engine carried him away from the destruction. Through the viewport, he watched as the Wanderer ceased fire. The human ship simply hung in space, surrounded by the wreckage of his entire fleet. 7 ships reduced to debris in less than 10 minutes. Diana's face appeared on his pod's emergency communications screen. "Captain Horvath, we're taking you aboard." Her expression was neutral, neither cruel nor sympathetic. "You're going to help us send a message." The holding cell aboard the Wanderer was clean and functional, lacking the torture devices or intimidation tactics Horvath had expected. He sat on a simple bench while medical scanners verified he hadn't been injured during the escape pod ejection. A human security officer stood outside the energy barrier, watching him with professional disinterest. Diana entered the cell block an hour later, carrying a data pad and 2 containers of what appeared to be water. She deactivated the barrier and handed 1 container to Horvath before sitting across from him. The gesture caught him off guard. Prisoners typically weren't offered refreshments. "You're probably wondering why you're still alive," Diana said, taking a drink from her own container. Horvath's throat was dry from stress and the recycled air in the escape pod. He drank before responding. "Earth forces usually space pirates, quick and final." "That's one approach," Diana acknowledged. "But it's not always the most effective. Tell me, Horvath, how many ships are in your organization?" "Go to whatever hell your species believes in," Horvath spat. Diana shrugged. "We already know. 37 vessels operating under your banner across 4 sectors. You've conducted 112 raids in the past 3 years, with total stolen cargo valued at approximately 40 million credits. She turned the data pad to show him files with detailed information about his entire operation. "We've been tracking you for 18 months. Horvath stared at the screen. The intelligence was accurate down to the names of his individual crew members. "If you knew all this, why wait until now?" "Because you weren't important enough," Diana said bluntly. "You're a mid-level operator. You take cargo, but you don't kill civilians unless they resist. There are bigger threats in the galaxy." She leaned forward. "But then you made a mistake. You attacked an Earth vessel." "A merchant ship," Horvath protested. "It's what pirates do." 17 months ago, your raiders attacked the Earth freighter Morning Star." Diana's voice hardened. "The crew surrendered immediately. Your people took the cargo and left them alive. That was smart." She pulled up a new file. 11 months ago, your ships hit the Earth transport Prosperity. Again, crew surrendered. You took what you wanted. No casualties." Horvath nodded slowly. "Why kill when you can profit? Dead merchants don't make more cargo runs." "Exactly," Diana said. "You were predictable, manageable. Earth Command classified you as a nuisance, but not a priority." She swiped to another screen. "But 6 weeks ago, you attacked the merchant vessel Distant Hope. The captain was a woman named Helen Park. She tried to surrender. Your boarding team killed her anyway." The words hit Horvath like a physical blow. "That wasn't my order. Rask led that raid. He said the crew resisted." "They didn't." Diana's eyes were cold. "We have the full sensor logs. Helen Park activated her ship's black box when your people boarded. We heard everything. She begged for her crew's lives. Rask shot her for amusement. Then he killed 3 more crew members just to terrify the rest." Horvath felt something twist in his gut. He had trusted Rask to follow the unwritten rules of piracy. Take the cargo, spare the crew, maintain the system that kept both sides alive. "I didn't know." "That's not an excuse," Diana said. "Rask was your second in command. His actions reflected your leadership, and because of what he did, Earth Command decided you were no longer manageable." She stood up. "So they sent us." "What is this ship really?" Horvath asked. "You're not regular military." "Q-ship," Diana answered. "We look like merchants, but we're designed to hunt pirates. There are 38 vessels like the Wanderer operating across known space. We've been deploying them for 5 years." She pulled up a tactical map showing the locations of multiple Q-ships. In that time, we've eliminated over 400 pirate vessels. The scope of it stunned Horvath. 400, that's impossible, we would have heard. You did hear, Diana corrected. Every time a pirate ship vanished without a trace, every time a raiding party failed to return from attacking an Earth merchant, every unexplained debris field found near trade routes. She let that sink in. You heard, you just didn't put the pattern together. Horvath's mind raced through the past several years. He remembered dozens of instances where other pirates had simply disappeared. The galactic underworld had attributed it to rival gangs or accidents or betrayals. The idea that Earth had been conducting a systematic extermination campaign seemed absurd. Humans were supposed to be weak. Why are you telling me this? Horvath demanded. Because you're going to deliver a message, Diana said. We're releasing you. Your escape pod has been refueled and supplied. We'll drop you near a neutral station. She held up the data pad. This contains complete tactical recordings of today's engagement. High-definition sensor logs, weapon performance data, everything. She placed it in his hands. I want you to share it. Share it, Horvath repeated numbly. With every pirate lord, every raider captain, every criminal organization you know. Diana's voice was flat and final. Show them what happens when you attack an Earth ship. Show them that our merchants aren't easy prey anymore. Show them that we don't negotiate with pirates. We eliminate them. You're using me as propaganda. I'm using you as a warning, Diana corrected. Earth's official policy is clear. Any attack on our vessels will be met with overwhelming force. No ransoms, no negotiations, no mercy. She moved toward the door. You have a choice now, Horvath. Spread the word and watch piracy against Earth ships stop, or stay silent and watch more of your kind die. 2 hours later, Horvath's escape pod drifted away from the Wanderer. Through the viewport, he watched the Q-ship activate its FTL drive and vanish in a flash of distorted light. The data pad sat on the console beside him, containing everything Diana had promised. His communication system showed he was approaching a neutral trading post. Other pirate vessels were in the area, ships belonging to organizations he had worked with in the past. He could warn them. He could share the recordings, or he could delete everything and pretend this never happened. Horvath thought about Rask, dead because he couldn't follow simple rules. He thought about his destroyed fleet and the casual efficiency with which Earth had wiped them out. Mostly, he thought about the 400 ships Diana had mentioned. 400 crews who had made the same mistake he almost made. He activated the long-range transmitter and began broadcasting. This is Horvath. I have priority intelligence regarding Earth shipping operations. All affiliated vessels need to see this immediately. The first responses came within minutes, pirate captains demanding to know what was so urgent. Horvath sent them the tactical recordings without commentary. He watched the read receipts multiply as the files spread across the network. Ship to ship, station to station, the message propagating through the galactic underworld. Within hours, every major pirate organization in 3 sectors had seen the footage of the Wanderer's transformation and the destruction of Horvath's fleet. The recordings spread further, reaching criminal networks on the far side of the galaxy. By the next day, it was the most widely distributed piece of pirate intelligence in recent history. And everywhere it went, the same conclusion formed. Earth ships were no longer viable targets. The asteroid base, designated as Haven's End, housed one of the largest gatherings of pirate leadership in the sector. 3 major warlords and a dozen minor captains sat around a salvaged conference table, reviewing the footage from Horvath's encounter for the 7th time. The video ended with the Wanderer disappearing into FTL, leaving only debris and Horvath's pod behind. Gret the Vicious, a hulking Thoraxian with 4 arms and scales like battle armor, slammed one massive fist on the table. 17 ships gone in 2 weeks, all of them hit Earth targets, all of them destroyed by these Q-ships. His voice was a deep rumble that made the air vibrate. How did we not see this pattern earlier? Salara the Red, A Silurian female whose species had evolved from ocean predators, gestured with webbed fingers at the tactical display. Because they were patient, look at the deployment timeline. She highlighted dates on the screen. They started 5 years ago with maybe 3 or 4 Q-ships. Losses were rare enough to attribute to other causes. The display showed the gradual increase in mysterious disappearances. But over time, they built an entire fleet of these hunters. Governor Hawks, a corpulent Bendarian who controlled 3 corrupt systems, wheezed as he leaned forward. "I have contacts in the Galactic Council." They knew. His multiple chins wobbled with indignation. Earth filed reports about deploying armed merchants for self-defense. The Council approved it as legitimate protection of commercial interests. "Armed merchants," Gret spat. "Those are warships with fake transponders, that's deception." "It's legal deception," Hawks countered. "According to galactic maritime law, any vessel has the right to disguise defensive capabilities. The Council sees no difference between hidden shields and hidden weapons." Salara's eyes, adapted for seeing in deep water darkness, focused on a detail in the footage. "Pause there." She pointed at a frame showing the Wanderer's interior just before weapons release. "See that power distribution? Those aren't standard defensive systems, that's military grade." "Targeting integration." She ran calculations on her personal display. "The response time from detection to weapons lock is 0.3 seconds. Even our best military ships need at least 2 seconds. One of the minor captains, a young Krellian named Voss, spoke up. "So we avoid Earth ships, problem solved. There's plenty of other prey in the galaxy." "It's not that simple," Hawks said. "Earth's merchant fleet handles 30% of all trade goods in this region. If we stop raiding them, we lose nearly a third of our potential income." He pulled up economic projections. "Within 6 months, half the organizations here would collapse from lack of funds." Gret growled. "Then we adapt. We develop sensors to identify these Q-ships before we attack." "Already tried," another captain interjected. "Kryn thought he had a detection algorithm, targeted what he believed was a genuine merchant 3 days ago." The captain's expression was grim. "Turns out Earth anticipated that. The merchant was real, but she had 3 warships on standby in hyperspace. They jumped in within 30 seconds. Kryn is in an Earth prison now." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth wasn't just deploying disguised warships. They were using actual merchants as bait with rapid response forces ready to intervene. The entire merchant fleet had become a trap network. Salara accessed another file. "There's more. I've been analyzing disappearances of pirate bases over the past 6 months. 27 facilities have gone offline without explanation." She overlaid a map showing the locations. "I thought it was rival organizations or internal conflicts, but look at this." The map highlighted search patterns radiating from Earth merchant routes. These bases were all near lanes where Earth ships had been attacked. Hawks's face paled. "They're not just defending their ships, they're tracking us back to our bases." "Horvath," Gret said suddenly. "He's not broadcasting from a random station. He's been moving through 5 different systems since his release, always staying near pirate-controlled space." The Thoraxian's eyes widened. "They're tracking him." Salara immediately began running security scans on the asteroid base. "If they tracked Horvath here..." She didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone in the room understood the danger. "Sweep the exterior for tracking devices," Gret ordered. "Check everything. Debris, visiting ships, everything that's entered our perimeter in the last week." The base's security systems activated, running detailed scans of every surface. The results came back clean. No tracking devices, no spy satellites, no obvious surveillance. But Salara noticed something else. "There's a microscopic debris particle attached to the hull near Docking Bay 3. Composition doesn't match anything in our inventory." "Show me," Gret demanded. The image appeared on the main screen. It was tiny, barely visible even at maximum magnification. A speck of what appeared to be ordinary space dust. But when Salara analyzed its internal structure, she found something impossible. "It's artificial. There are nanoscale components inside, transmitting on a frequency I can't even identify with our equipment." The room erupted in chaos. Pirate captains shouted orders to their ships preparing to evacuate. Halks was already waddling toward the exit. "They know we're here. They've probably known for days. We need to scatter." "Too late," Solera said quietly, pointing at the long-range sensors. "Multiple FTL signatures incoming. 8, no, 12 contacts, military-grade drives." The display showed Earth warships dropping out of hyperspace around the asteroid. These weren't Q-ships hiding behind merchant disguises. These were full-scale destroyers and cruisers, their weapons already charging. Gret activated the base defenses. "All ships launch. Engage the enemy. We outnumber them 3-1. The pirate fleet began emerging from the asteroid base, a chaotic mix of different ship classes and species. They had numbers on their side, nearly 40 vessels against 12 Earth ships. But the engagement was over almost before it began. The Earth fleet moved with coordinated precision that spoke of months of planning. They had studied this base's layout, knew every weakness, every blind spot. The first salvo from the human ships destroyed the base's power generators, killing the shields and defensive batteries simultaneously. Pirate ships trying to form up found themselves targeted by weapons systems that locked on faster than their crews could react. The Earth destroyers worked in pairs, one suppressing shields while the other delivered killing shots. Within 5 minutes, half the pirate fleet was destroyed or disabled. Gret watched from his personal ship as the base he had controlled for 8 years came. "Apart under sustained bombardment. Fall back," he transmitted to the surviving vessels. "Scatter pattern Omega, save yourselves." The remaining pirate ships broke formation and fled in different directions. Some made it to FTL, others weren't fast enough. The Earth fleet didn't pursue the runners. They had achieved their objective. As Gret's ship jumped to safety, he took one last look at the tactical display. The pattern was clear now. Earth had been collecting intelligence from every Q-ship encounter, every tracked pirate, every engagement. They had built a complete map of the criminal networks in this region, and now they were dismantling it piece by piece. Solera's ship appeared alongside his in hyperspace. "They're not fighting a defensive war," her voice came through the comm. "They're conducting extermination operations." Gret's response was heavy with the weight of defeat. "Spread the word to every organization. Earth ships are forbidden targets. Anyone who attacks them answers to me personally." "It won't stop Earth," Solera said. "They're not going to forgive years of raids just because we stop now." "I know," Gret replied, "but maybe we can survive long enough to rebuild somewhere they can't find us." He didn't sound convinced. The simultaneous strikes happened at 0400 Galactic Standard Time. Across 12 sectors, 43 pirate bases registered Earth warship signatures emerging from hyperspace. For most of them, the first indication of attack was when their shields collapsed under sustained railgun fire. Diana's Wanderer led the assault on a hidden facility in the outer reach, a fortified station built inside a hollowed-out moon. Her crew had spent 3 weeks studying the base's defenses, mapping power distribution and identifying critical systems. The attack plan was precise down to the second. "All ships weapons free," Diana transmitted to her task force. 3 other Q-ships and 2 proper destroyers formed her strike group. "Target the shield generators first. I want that station naked in under 2 minutes." The Wanderer's spinal cannon charged and fired, the beam punching through the moon's surface crust and striking the primary generator buried 50 meters deep. The protective barrier around the station flickered and died. The other ships in her group followed up immediately, pouring fire into the exposed defensive batteries. Inside the pirate base, alarms screamed as crews scrambled to respond. But Earth had learned from previous engagements. The attacking ships didn't just bombard randomly. They systematically destroyed command centers, weapons control, and life support in a predetermined sequence designed to force surrender with minimal casualties. Pete monitored the tactical display from his engineering station. "They're trying to launch fighters. Shall I suppress the hangar bays?" "Negative," Diana replied. Let them launch. Better they surrender in escape pods than die inside that station. She opened a broadcast channel. Pirate facility designated Outer Reach. This is Captain Diana Ross of Earth Defense Force. Your shields are down and your defenses are offline. You have 2 minutes to evacuate before we breach the reactor core. This is your only warning. The response was immediate. Escape pods began ejecting from the station like seeds from a burst fruit. Small craft and fighters powered down their weapons and broadcast surrender codes. Within 90 seconds, the base was abandoned. Diana gave the order and a single torpedo struck the reactor, causing a controlled meltdown that would render the facility permanently uninhabitable. Similar scenes played out across the targeted sectors. Some pirate crews fought back desperately, managing to damage a few Earth ships before being overwhelmed. Others surrendered immediately, recognizing the futility of resistance. A handful of bases self-destructed rather than let Earth forces capture their intelligence databases. At Earth Command Headquarters, Fleet Admiral Park watched the operation unfold on a massive tactical display. Each pirate base was represented by a red icon. As they fell, the icons turned green. The transformation happened with mechanical efficiency. Within 6 hours, 41 of the 43 targets were neutralized. Commander Raymond approached with status reports. 2 bases managed to evacuate before our forces arrived. Someone tipped them off. He highlighted the locations on the map. Both were secondary targets anyway, minimal impact on the overall operation. Admiral Park nodded. Casualties. 3 Earth ships damaged, none destroyed. Estimated enemy losses are 700 vessels destroyed, 3,000 captured, approximately 12,000 personnel taken into custody. Raymond paused. Civilian casualties among the pirates are minimal. Most chose. Surrender. Good, Park said. We're not butchers, we're restoring order. She gestured at the map showing cleared trade routes. What's the economic projection? Preliminary analysis suggests pirate activity in the affected sectors will drop by 90% within the next month, Raymond reported. The major organizations have been crippled. The minor ones are scattered and disorganized. It'll take them years to rebuild if they even try. Park allowed herself a small smile. 5 years of planning, worth every credit. She turned to Raymond. Draft a report for the Galactic Council, include full tactical data and prisoner manifests. I want complete transparency on this operation. The Galactic response to Earth's coordinated strike was mixed. The Trade Alliance praised the action as necessary security enforcement. Smaller species that had suffered from piracy expressed relief. But some council members, particularly those from military-focused cultures, viewed Earth's deception tactics with suspicion. Councillor Breen of the Sindari Collective confronted Earth's ambassador Victor Han in the council chambers. Your species deployed warships disguised as merchants, conducted intelligence gathering under false pretenses, and executed a military operation across multiple sovereign territories without prior notification. His voice echoed in the vast chamber. This sets dangerous precedents. Victor remained calm. Earth operated within established legal frameworks. Our Q-ships are classified as armed merchants, which is permitted under Article 7 of the Commerce Protection Treaty. He projected documents onto the Council's shared display. Our intelligence operations targeted criminal organizations, not sovereign governments, and our military action occurred in international space or with permission from local authorities. Semantics, Breen argued. You conducted warfare through deception. We conducted law enforcement through appropriate force, Victor corrected. Piracy is not protected activity. Pirates have no sovereign rights. They are, by definition, criminals operating outside legal frameworks. He looked around the chamber. For 10 years, Earth requested Council assistance with piracy suppression. Those requests were denied or ignored, so we took responsibility for protecting our own citizens. Several Council members shifted uncomfortably. Victor's accusation was accurate. The Council had repeatedly refused to authorize multi-species anti-piracy task forces, claiming jurisdiction disputes and resource allocation problems. Furthermore, Victor continued. Earth has shared all Q-ship tactical data with any species that requests it. We're not keeping these capabilities secret. We're offering them freely. He highlighted several species on the display. 4 governments have already begun development of similar programs based on our information. We support these efforts completely. The council session ended without formal censure of Earth's actions. Breen attempted to call for sanctions, but the measure failed to gain support. Too many species had benefited from the sudden drop in piracy rates. Months later, Diana stood in a memorial garden on Earth, surrounded by stone markers bearing the names of merchant crew members killed by pirates over the previous decade. 2,000 names carved into black granite. Her promotion to full commander had come with command of a proper warship, but she had requested one final visit to the memorial before taking her new post. Ruth found her there looking at one name in particular, Helen Park, killed 6 weeks before the Wanderer's encounter with Horvath. Thinking about how it started, Ruth asked. Thinking about how it ended, Diana replied. We stopped the attacks, broke the pirate networks, made the trade routes safe. She touched Helen's name gently. But we did it through violence, through deception, through becoming hunters ourselves. We did what was necessary, Ruth said quietly. The galaxy respects strength. We proved humans have it. I know, Diana turned away from the memorial. I just wonder what we gave up to gain that respect. Across the galaxy, a small Earth merchant vessel named Simple Fortune passed through what had once been the most dangerous pirate-controlled space in the sector. The captain was a young woman on her first deep space run. She barely noticed when her sensors detected unknown ships nearby. The unknown vessels were pirates, the scattered remnants of Gret's organization. They ran their own scans on the Earth ship, checking for the telltale signs of Q-ship modifications. The readings showed a genuine merchant, no hidden weapons, no unusual power systems. The pirate captain stared at the scan results for a long moment, then ordered his ship to change course. Leave it, he told his crew. Not worth the risk. His second officer protested. It's a clean target, real merchant. We could take her easily. Maybe, the captain replied. Or maybe it's bait for another response fleet, or maybe it's a new kind of Q-ship we can't detect yet. He pulled up footage of the Wanderer's transformation, something he had watched 100 times. But even if it's really just a merchant, Earth proved they'll hunt us to extinction for touching their ships, so we don't touch them, ever. The Simple Fortune continued on its route, unaware of how close it had come to attack, equally unaware of how thoroughly Earth's reputation now protected it. The captain would arrive at her destination safely, deliver her cargo, and return home without incident. Throughout the galaxy, the pattern repeated. Earth ships traveled freely while pirates gave them wide berths. The mockery had ended. The Annihilation had served its purpose, and the message was finally clear.